Hello everybody and welcome to the Auto Driver YouTube channel. Today I thought I'd start with something simple, so we're just gonna go on Facebook Marketplace for just a little while and see what we can find. I must admit, I do like going on this website very much, so as you can see, it's already curated a little bit for me, and you know what? Enough rambling. Let's get started. All right, let's start with. Ooh, look at this. A 1993 Cadillac Alante. 13.9 in Placerville, California. So it was an interesting car. If you didn't know, Cadillac was trying to take on Mercedes with this, with their SL very specifically. So they made an Italian built kind of sports luxury cruiser sort of thing. And like they actually built the body for this in Italy, and in my humble opinion, it's not a bad looking car. The problem was it was decently expensive. I mean, it was cheaper than the SL, but then again, most things were, and you still had to deal with late 80s GM build quality, which was not great. Let's be honest with ourselves. And Cadillac, as the years went on, they tried to make the car better and better and better. So initially they started with a 170 horsepower HT engine, then it got a displacement boost to 4.5 liters, started making about 200 horsepower, and then finally, for the very last model year, they put in, as you can see on the little fender badge right here, the brand new 32 valve all aluminum North Star engine. And now this sounded all well and good. There was a couple of problems though. One, this ended up being the last model year that this car was available. Now, this is kind of a GM thing, they'd put out a car that wasn't quite ready, and then they'd start improving it, and by the time they had improved it, it had stopped selling. And, they finally, got this car to be pretty good. But, by 1993, the brand new SL had already been out for 4 years, and it had a brand new V12 engine soon on the way, as well as the V8s from the previous car, which were very strong motors, and as well, the late 80s, early 90s, very good time for Mercedes. Those R109s and later, or R107s, excuse me, and later those R107s and later the R129s, some of the best cars that the Germans ever made, some of the best Grand Tours ever made, if you ask some people. And the Alante was not. So let's see, here's this car. As you can see, fuel economy, not great, but then again, it's a V8 luxury barge. That wasn't exactly the biggest consideration in the first place. You have that 32 valve engine up front driving the front wheels, which was something that Cadillac had been doing since the mid-60s, but it also made this car uncompetitive because, the SL had the pretense of sportiness. It wasn't a sports car, mind you, but, it had the pretense of sportiness, and part of that was rear-wheel drive. The Cadillac didn't have that. It had front-wheel drive and a big V8 up front, which meant front-end plow and an understeer and all that. I mean, they didn't handle terribly. Cadillac was pretty decent at the technology by this point, but it did not drive like a Mercedes, I can tell you that much. Let's see, this particular example, it's in very nice shape. I must say, 29,600 miles in 32 years. That's less than 1,000 miles a year, and Let's see, automatic. All of these are automatic, so that's nothing special. In red, on black. Looks pretty nice. Paint is shining. Got your gold emblems on the side. Here, you have the Mark of Italy on the side of the car, right about here. Pininfarina. Yes, Pininfarina designed, and the body was built by Pininfarina. And the craziest part is, once they got done with the body, they'd air freight the whole thing on a specially made 747 to Detroit, where they put in the engine and the rest of the stuff. Crazy stuff, like. Cadillac, they swung for the fences with this car, and they didn't quite make it, but, you do have to appreciate the effort. As you can see, shining vehicle, as you can see here. I mean, look at that. Look at how beautiful the paint is and all that, and I just noticed there's an SC300 in the background for when the Cadillac breaks, which, probably as good of a sign as any that they were not that confident in this car, running for a long time. So now we head for the interior. Cadillac steering wheel, 2-spoke, not all that sporty, but what can you do? You have classic GM T-bar shifter, very plasticky dash. I mean, that's just like, for a long time, an American car trademark. Like, starting in the 60s, the quality just went lower and lower and lower. And while, the Japanese and the Germans were getting a hell of a lot better. So while they were putting in things like leather and wood, this Cadillac, this car that in modern money cost well north of $100,000, had a very plasticky gauge cluster. Had a very plasticky dash, plastic here, there, and everywhere. All just looks kind of low rent. As did the steering wheel. Looks like something out of an Oldsmobile. No wood inlays or anything. And a big, ugly airbag right in the middle. But, airbags back then didn't look that nice anyway. So let's keep going. As you can see, convertible top. Oh, even has all the manuals and... Wait, is that a built-in calculator? You got a built-in calculator with your Cadillac in '93. That is wonderful. Like, that was a thing, to make you feel like you're getting your money's worth with these cars, back in the late 80s, they put on, the GM mark of quality. They had the gold key system, which basically meant you got brass keys with your car, so it seemed, ooh, look how fancy this is. All that sort of thing. And then, Lexus showed up and Mercedes showed up and showed them, hey, this is how you do it. You actually, you make a nice car. You don't just cobble something together. But, again, GM tried. Here's another shot of the interior. It's pretty well featured. You got cruise control, you got a nice stereo, climate control, automatic transmission, power windows, yada. You got all the pertinent features you want in a car like this. The problem is the interior build quality was terrible and the engine wasn't that great, so not a whole lot of people bought these. Those old high technology engines, they might have been very much down on power, but, they were decently reliable. And, look at that. To sell it, they put in a frickin' shot from Dallas. Look, it's a celebrity car. He's selling this to an old guy. He is definitely selling this to another old fogey who wants to live out the good old days, because this show ended in 1991. And no one cares who J.R. Ewing is anymore. And of course, as I was saying in the description, he's going ooh, it was at Indy, it was driven by Bobby Unser. Bodies built in Italy, yada, yada, yada. So, again, interesting car. Might own one in the future, but you know, not really my cup of tea much. I'd rather just get like an old SL from the 70s. Anyway, let's see what else we have. G8, that's interesting. A Chevy Sonic. Let's see what else. Something. Yeah, I mean, like Facebook Marketplace. I mean, the magical thing is you can get anything and everything on here. You know. Like, let's go cars and trucks. Oh, here we go, baby. A Geo Metro 1990. Actually, for the money, it's in pretty decent shape. Has plates, runs good, 3-cylinder. What else do you really need? So, you know, back in the late 80s, GM inked a deal with Suzuki to sell a bunch of Japanese cars under a new brand known as Geo. And Geos were interesting. You know, like these Metros, like these were bargain basement, bottom of the barrel cars, absolutely. Like when you bought one of these, like these hubcaps, those were an option. I mean, you know, it's a 35-year-old economy car, probably been driven fairly hard. It says 120,000 miles. I mean, maybe. I mean, people drove these things into the ground. Maybe this was bought by like someone's. Was bought by someone's dad, I'm guessing, who kept it for like 30 years or something like that, maybe. But you know, exterior looks fine. Oh, another cascading option. I just noticed. See that little plug right there? That's where your rear windshield wiper would go. Didn't come with that. Let's see. It does have mirrors on both sides. That wasn't a guarantee, although those aren't painted. The bumpers aren't painted. And you know, that interior, that's just heinous. So, you know, it's a fine car. It works. It's a Geo Metro. What else do you really want? Anyway, let's go for one more because this video's been going on for a little... maybe. Might go through that one. We're looking for something interesting here. Do you see some... Let's go a little bit more. I'm sure we'll find something. Man, I forgot how much stuff is on here. That's a Corolla. That's a... Huh? That's it? Oh, I guess I must have run out of RAM or something. Let me just chuck this manual through one more car. Oh, jackpot. Here we go. 1985 Isuzu Impulse or Piazza, either or. Like, there were two names for this car. Like, this car, very, very interesting. It's based on the T-body, same as like a Chevy Chevette or an Opel Astra, I think it was. Vauxhall Chevette as well. You know, like, they're all the same car underneath. Like, I saw a video, some guy said that it was rebranded about 30 different times, and they sold these everywhere. Here in North America as a Chevy and a Pontiac, South America, Africa, Asia, Europe. Like, wherever there was like a small town dealership somewhere under the GM empire, one of these would be sold, although most of them weren't like this. This is a specialty car because, see that text right there? Right there? Turbo intercooler. You have pseudo pop-up lamps when you turn them on. These go up like whoop, like that, up 90 degrees, and you know, like the good thing about the T cars, the interesting thing, probably what gave them the idea to do this in the first place, the car drove the rear wheels, even though a lot of these were hatchbacks, because GM went fairly conservative with this car. But this meant that In the mid-80s, in the United States, it was possible to buy a turbocharged hatchback rear-wheel drive sports car, which is awesome. And I think these were designed by Giugiaro. Oh, look at that look at that. Oh, this thing is nice. I mean, the graphics are a little faded, but the car is 40 years old. What do you expect? But the rest, it looks cherry. Look at that. Look at the decals. Look at, this is a very, very nice car, you know? It pulls popping rear windows. You know, let's take a look. Look at that. Look, that is an 8-inch wedge right there. If I have ever seen one in my life. You have the side of the car right here. You have your rear end. No shots of the interior, but there's the magic under the hood. I think these cars in 85 made about 140 horsepower, maybe 150, but by the end of their production ones, they had gone up to 180. I mean, that was no kidding around back in the late 80s. Like in 88, that was the last year these were sold, and those got the best engine. The Mustang had the 5.0 with fuel injection. That made about 225. The Camaro had the 5.7 that made about 250. Like a Ferrari had like 250 as well. This little car with this pokey little 4-cylinder engine, thanks to the magic of a turbocharger, made 180. That was pretty damn good. Anyway, I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Please like and subscribe as well. Goodbye.